Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this video, the full version is available on Patreon. I'll be uploading all my content there going forward.
Chapter 1. Bang! The basketball slammed against the edge of the rim and bounced away. It then slammed into the floor with a dull thud. Then came the sharp squeaking of sneakers against the floor, and the boy's seemingly inexhaustible roars. One more ball. Get back on defense. Get back on defense now. Inside the basketball gymnasium of Shohoku High School, the air was filled with the salty, damp smell of evaporated sweat. This is a flavor called youth and passion. But on a bench in the corner of the stadium, a corpse covered with a white towel was expressing strong protest. A hand reached out from under the towel and made a weak grasping motion in the air. It seemed to be trying to grab a non-existent mute remote. Seriously, it's so noisy. Are these high school students some kind of over-energetic huskies? Don't they take a nap? A muffled complaint came from under the towel, filled with the typical morning grumpiness. Smack! A folding fan, whistling through the air, struck the flailing hand with perfect precision. Ouch! The corpse on the bench shuddered suddenly. Linbeay ripped the towel off his head, revealing a handsome face that would make all the girls in the school scream. But at this moment, those dead fish eyes were filled with despair for this world. Standing in front of him was a vibrant young girl with a backwards baseball cap and long, curly hair. Lin Bei. Today is the first day for the new students. Everyone else was working hard to perform, but you hid here and slept for a full 45 minutes. Ayako Inu stood with her hands on her hips, her eyebrows raised, and rhythmically tapped her palms with a paper fan. Senior Ayako, just to correct you, it's 43 minutes. Also, I'm not sleeping, I'm doing static physical recovery training. Linbeay rubbed the back of his hand and yawned. Ha! Ayako laughed in exasperation. You make slacking off sound so elegant and refined, does Captain Akagi know about it? Upon hearing the name Akagi, Linbeay instinctively shrank back. He sighed and slumped back onto the bench. He assumed the most comfortable GEU slouch position, staring blankly at the ceiling. Senior, you have to understand me. Standing is not as good as sitting, sitting is not as good as lying down, and since I'm already lying down, I might as well take a nap. This is a universal truth. Lin Bei, a first-year student at Ziongbei High School, is an international student from Daxia. But he also has a secret that only he knows. He is a time traveler. In his previous life, Lin Bei was a typical corporate slave. 996 is a blessing, 007 is the norm. Finally, in the early hours of the morning, while working through the night to finish a PowerPoint presentation, he suddenly experienced a sharp pain in his heart and died at his workstation. When he opened his eyes again, he found himself in Kanagawa, Japan in the 1990s, as a wealthy second-generation exchange student. The family is wealthy, and both parents are very busy. My monthly living expenses arrive on time, and the amount is substantial. This is an incredible start that Lin Bei could never have dreamed of in his previous life. Therefore, he set a grand goal for his life. In this lifetime, I will never work overtime, and I will never strive. Be a happy slacker, and live a peaceful and comfortable life until you're old. However, fate played a cruel joke on him. Ding! Host detected at Shohoku Basketball Gymnasium. Miracle Basketball System is running continuously. Current slacking time, 45 minutes. Gained 45 points of slacking off credit. System warning, if the host's team, Shohoku High School, fails to qualify for the national tournament this year. Based on the butterfly effect, the host's father's company will go bankrupt due to failed investments, leaving the host without income and forced to work as a dishwasher. Lin Bei rolled his eyes in his mind. This is that damn system. He was given the complete skill template of the Generation of Miracles from Kuroko's basketball. But they insisted on having him join Shohoku. Winning on the field earns you shock points. Shock points can be exchanged for skills in Kuroko's basketball, or some amazing gadgets. You can also earn slacking off points by lying down. You can redeem slacking off points for many things outside the sports field. But want to lie down comfortably? Can. The premise is that Shohoku wins. If Shohoku loses, he'll be finished too, returning to a miserable working life. For my monthly allowance of 5 million yen. This is so hard for me. Linbay closed his eyes in anguish. Hey! You over there! Are you new here too? A deafening roar interrupted Linbay's thoughts. At the entrance of the stadium, an arrogant young man with a bright red pompadour strode in. Sakuragi Hanamichi. The absolute protagonist of this world, single-celled organisms. At this moment, in order to impress the goddess Akagi Haruko, he was displaying his plumage like a peacock in heat. I am the genius Sakuragi Hanamichi. The next captain of the basketball team. Where's that fox, Rukawa Kaede? I challenge him to a duel. Sakuragi laughed heartily, hands on his hips. On the other side of the court, the black-haired boy who was dribbling stopped. Rukawa Kaede turned his head expressionlessly and coldly uttered 2 words, idiot. What did you say? Sakuragi instantly went berserk, veins throbbing on his forehead. How scary! Is this the world of shonen manga? Even the air smells of excess hormones. Linbay covered his face with the towel again. Ayako sighed and rubbed her forehead in exasperation. We haven't even dealt with this lazybones yet, and now another troublemaker has appeared. Gather! A thunderous roar echoed through the stadium. Take Nori Akagi, the pillar of Shohoku, walked over like a moving black tower. His imposing face instantly silenced the entire stadium. All first-year students, line up immediately. Get ready for the entrance exam. Akagi's gaze swept across the entire room like a searchlight. The final image focuses on the white towel still wriggling in the corner. Linbay. Do I need to ask you to get up? The towel was suddenly pulled away. Linbay sprang up from the bench with an incredibly smooth motion, instantly standing ramrod straight. With a forced, businesslike smile on his face, present. Good morning, Captain. You've worked hard, Captain. The surrounding freshmen were all stunned. Is this face-changing speed professional? Akagi's lips twitched, barely suppressing the urge to punch the kid. The entrance exam was very simple. Akagi pointed to the older students on the field. First-year students, form a team and play a practice match against the older students. Let me see your strength and attitude. When the word attitude was mentioned, Akagi deliberately glared at Linbay. Hey? We have to play a match again. Captain, I suddenly feel dizzy, have chest tightness, and leg cramps. It might be a flare-up of low blood sugar. Can I apply to be a cheerleader on the sidelines? I'm really good at yelling 666. Linbay raised his hand, looking sincere. Turn down. Akagi sneered, if you dare to slack off on the field, your training load will double today. No. This is bullying on the court. Linbay cried out in his heart. But he dared not say it. Akagi Tekinori's iron fist was powerful enough to give Sakuragi Hanamichi a good beating. The grouping was completed quickly. First-year team, Rukawa Kaede, Sakuragi Hanamichi, Kuwata, Ishii, and Hayashi Kida, who was forced to participate. Senior members, Akagi Tsuniki, Kagure Kiminobu, Yasuda, Shiozaki, Junoda. Beeb. As Ayako blew her whistle, the match began. Take Nori Akagi won the jump ball, giving the senior team the first attack. Linbay, wearing those limited edition AJ1s, slowly ran back. His position is small forward, but his current running speed is faster than even the old men doing their morning exercises in the park. As long as I don't touch the ball won't come to me. Lin Bei silently recited the slacking off technique in his mind and skillfully activated the system skill. Passive skill, gaze guidance, Kuroko Tetsuya, activated. Effect, significantly reduces one's own presence, causing opponents and teammates to subconsciously ignore the host's existence. In an instant, Lin Bei's aura seemed to merge with the surrounding air. He was clearly standing just outside the three-point line. But both Yasuda, who was on offense, and Rukawa, who was on defense, seemed to have forgotten that there was such a person on the field. This is Lin Bei's favorite skill. No need to run, no need to block, not even need to defend. That's an amazing paddling technique. The situation on the field was one-sided. Rukawa Kaede is strong, but he's too selfish. Facing Akaji's defensive presence in the paint, he repeatedly forced his way through. Although he scored a few beautiful shots, he was also blocked twice by Akaji. As for Sakuragi Hanamichi, give me the ball. I'm a genius. Sakuragi was running around on the court like a headless fly, completely oblivious to the rules. He was even called on by the referee 3 times for traveling violations. Damn it! This lousy floor is targeting me! Sakuragi exclaimed in exasperation. The score quickly reached 20-8. The senior team is far ahead. Lin Bei stood in the corner, his hands in his pockets. Seeing everyone panting for breath, he couldn't help but shake his head. Young people are just too impulsive. Isn't playing basketball in a health-conscious way like I do good? Just then, an accident occurred. Rukawa once again made a strong drive to the basket, only to be double-teamed by Akaji and Kagure. The ball is dead. Rukawa gritted his teeth, his gaze sweeping across the field. Kuwata was completely shut down, Ishii was trembling, Sakuragi. Sakuragi is currently playing a sumo match against Emperor Kakuta. The only empty spot is the one in the bottom corner. Wait, when will someone be there? Rukawa Kaede paused for a moment, then his body reacted instinctively. Whoosh! The basketball was passed to the baseline like a cannonball. Lin Bei was just about to yawn when he suddenly felt a gust of wind. Holy crap! He instinctively reached out, and with a snap, the basketball landed firmly in his hand. All eyes in the room instantly turned to them. Line of sight guidance failed. Akaji Takenori stood under the basket, his eyes fierce. Lin Bei. Shoot! Don't tell me you don't even know where the basketball hoop is. Shiozaki, who was defending him, hesitated for a moment before rushing over to block the shot. Lin Bei held the ball in his hand, feeling its rough, grainy texture. If he doesn't surrender, Akaji will definitely kill him, and his plans to slack off in the future will be ruined. If he misses the shot, he'll probably need to practice more. This is so troublesome. Lin Bei sighed, but his body underwent a change in that instant. His previously relaxed and slouching posture suddenly became as tense as a cheetah's. A flash of blue lightning appeared in those dead fish eyes. Active skill, unpredictable shot, Mindaki, activated. Facing the oncoming Kaiokai, Lin Bei made no feints. He didn't even adjust his steps, his body leaned back in an extremely uncoordinated manner, almost at a 45-degree angle to the floor. What is he doing? Is he trying to commit suicide? Ayako exclaimed from the sidelines. It's impossible to exert any force in this position. However, Lin Bei's wrist flicked very gently. The basketball traced an absurdly high parabola, soaring past Shiozaki's fingertips, over Akaji's head, and heading straight for the basket. Lin Bei didn't even look at the result. He landed, turned around, and walked straight back. Whoosh! A crisp sound of swishing the net was like heavenly music. Hollow entry into the net. The entire stadium fell silent instantly. Only Lin Bei's lazy voice drifted through the air. Captain, I scored. Can I say I met my exercise goal for today? I want to go back and catch up on some sleep. Chapter 2 The basketball was still bouncing on the floor. Tap, tap, tap. Finally, it rolled helplessly towards the corner of the wall. The monotonous sound was particularly jarring in the deathly silent arena. Shiozaka maintained the sealed position, as stiff as a plaster statue. He turned his head, his eyes almost popping out, staring at the still slightly swaying basketball net. What just happened? That pose. That backward lean, which is completely contrary to human biomechanics, actually went in? You're kidding, right? Yasuda swallowed hard, his voice trembling. Akagi Tekinori's dark face was now terrifyingly gloomy, and the veins on his forehead were throbbing. He stared intently at Lin Bei, who was about to walk towards the bench, his chest heaving violently. As the captain of the basketball team, he has seen countless ways to score. Rukawa's breakthrough, Mitsui's perfect arc three-pointer, and even Sakuragi's underdog layup. But I've never seen anything like this before. A goal filled with perfunctory and casual play, yet with an outrageously accurate precision. It's as easy as casually tossing a crumpled piece of paper into the trash can. Stop right there! Akagi's voice was deep and resonant, like the rumble of thunder before a storm. Linbeay paused in his steps. He sighed, his shoulders slumped, and he didn't turn around. Captain, did that shot count as a three-pointer? Combined with what I did before, that's enough exercise. According to the labor law, according to school regulations, excessive training can negatively impact the growth and development of teenagers. Linbeay raised his right hand and waved it weakly. Who gave you permission to leave? Akagi strode forward, blocking Linbeay's path like a mountain. A massive shadow instantly enveloped Linbeay. Take that shot again. Ha! Captain, it was just a lucky shot. You still won't make it even if you shoot 100 times. My arms and legs are sore and weak right now. I need to replenish my sugar levels immediately, or I'll faint on the court. I'll have to trouble everyone to call an ambulance then, I'm so sorry. Linbeay raised his eyelids, his dead fish eyes filled with resistance. Stop talking nonsense. Akagi grabbed the basketball and shoved it into Linbeay's arms. That form, that release point, it definitely wasn't luck. You rascal, just how much more are you hiding? Linbeay hugged the ball, feeling the rough texture of the leather, while mentally ranting about the system. Warning, Akagi Tekinori's rage level is rising. A. Obey orders, reward, Akagi's favorability +5. B. Refuse to work overtime, reward, +10 points for slacking off, but may face violent suppression. Is there even a need to choose? Just as Linbeay was about to throw the ball back, a cold gaze suddenly pierced his eyes. A chilling feeling, like being watched by some wild beast. Rukawa Kaede walked over at some point. His eyes, which were usually sleepy, were now surprisingly bright, fixed intently on Linbeay. Hello. Rukawa Kaede spoke, his words concise and to the point, fight me. No. Linbeay refused immediately. Playing ball with this ball fanatic? That's absolutely the most tiring thing in the world, bar none. When this guy is playing basketball, the word rest doesn't exist in his vocabulary. Afraid of losing? Rukawa raised an eyebrow, his tone carrying an extremely irritating provocation. Provocation doesn't work on me. Linbeay yawned and shoved the ball into Rukawa Kaede's arms. You're the ace, I'm just a slacker. It's only natural for a slacker to lose to an ace. I concede. This point is yours. Congratulations on your victory. After saying that, he walked past Rukawa Kaede and tried to leave. Etc. This time, it was Sakuragi Hanamichi who jumped out. The red-haired monkey stood in the middle of the road, looking annoyed, its nostrils pointing to the sky. What's so great about that stinky fox, Rukawa Kaede? That guy. Pretty boy. If you're going to fight, fight this genius. I'm going to be the next captain of the basketball team. The scene instantly descended into chaos. Ayako stood to the side, holding a paper fan, watching this scene helplessly. But her gaze couldn't help but linger on Linbeay. Was that last shot really just a coincidence? Shut up, all of you! Akagi roared, silencing the entire crowd. He stared at Linbeay, then suddenly sneered, "Linbeay, you want to slack off, don't you? It's a rest day, Captain. Efficient rest is for better work." Linbeay nodded honestly. "Good. You and Rukawa play 3 balls. If you can win a point, you don't have to come to morning practice anymore, and you'll be allowed to leave afternoon practice half an hour early." Akagi pointed at Rukawa. Linbeay's ears perked up instantly. His dead fish eyes suddenly widened. The words "leave early" seemed to be reflected in his pupils, gleaming in gold. "No need to get up early? Can I leave early? This is simply the ultimate in paid leave. Captain, words alone are no proof. Shall we draw up a written agreement?" Linbeay's backache and leg pain instantly disappeared, and he felt refreshed. "I keep my word. But if you lose, your training load will double, and you'll be responsible for mopping the floor for a month." Akagi's lips twitched. "Make a deal." Linbeay turned around, and the look in his eyes when he looked at Rukawa Kaede changed. That look was no longer one of looking at something as troublesome, but rather one of looking at someone who had a leave early pass. "Rukawa-kun. For the sake of my sleep quality, I'll have to trouble you." Rukawa Kaede didn't say anything, but silently tossed the ball to Linbeay. Then he lowered his center of gravity and assumed a defensive stance. The air froze instantly. The first-year students held their breath, and the older students gathered around. Everyone wants to know if this guy who's been sleeping in the corner is just a flash in the pan. That Linbeay will definitely get crushed by Rukawa Kaede. Yes, Rukawa Kaede is the ace of Tomioka Middle School. Amidst the murmurs, Linbeay, standing at 188 centimeters, caught the ball with one hand and stood outside the 3-point line. He looked at Rukawa Kaede, who was standing ready for battle. This guy's defense is really good, he keeps his center of gravity very low. His gaze was very focused, and there were almost no flaws. To score against him using conventional methods, you'd have to work up a sweat. That's not worth it at all. Let's finish this quickly. Linbeay silently recited in his heart. Active skill, super high-speed dribbling, Mindaki, activated. Bang! The basketball slammed to the ground. In that instant, Linbeay moved. There were no feints, no probing steps. It's simply, extremely fast. Rukawa Kaede's pupils suddenly contracted. In his vision, Linbeay's figure seemed to blur for a moment. Wow, so fast! The body instinctively wanted to move to the right to block the way. But before the brain could give the order, a gust of wind had already whistled past its ear. Varied. Rukawa Kaede turned around abruptly, only to see a languid back view. Linbeay has already broken into the restricted area. Facing an empty basket, he didn't even bother to jump up and dunk, he simply made a casual layup. The basketball obediently fell into the net. 1-0. The entire process takes no more than 2 seconds. An eerie silence fell over the stadium once again. Akagi Tekinori's jaw dropped slightly, and he almost dropped the notepad in his hand. This speed! This explosive power! Is it really Linbeay, the one who gets out of breath after just a few steps? Chapter 3. Wow, that's amazing! Sangtian couldn't help but cry out. Linbeay picked up the ball, but instead of celebrating, he rubbed his thigh with a pained expression. Ouch, I strained my thigh just now. No, this level of exercise is definitely not suitable for me. The captain said winning by 1 goal is enough. I won. Please continue, everyone. I'm going to lie down on the bench for a bit. He tossed the ball back to Rukawa and waved to the crowd. Rukawa Kaede stood still, staring intently at the basketball in his hands. That feeling of helplessness just now. Was it approved? Was it completely and without any suspense, and was it eliminated in one fell swoop? An unprecedented sense of frustration and an even stronger fighting spirit burned in his chest. Again. Rukawa Kaede suddenly turned around and shouted at Lin Bei's back. Don't want. Lin Bei didn't even turn his head, he walked straight to the sidelines, picked up a towel, and covered his head with it. He slumped gracefully onto the bench. It's a virtue to accept the consequences of a bet. Rukawa-kun, you need to learn to accept the beatings from handsome men. You. Rukawa Kaede gritted his teeth, clenched his fists, and was about to rush over. That's enough. Akagi stopped Rukawa. The captain of Shohoku took a deep look at the guy lying there like a corpse. He knew that Shohoku might have really struck gold this time. Although this treasure is an extremely troublesome lazybones. Rukawa, keep training. Since we've lost, we'll win it back with our sweat. Akagi roared. Although Rukawa Kaede did not respond, he turned around and resumed training. But every time he shoots a basket, he subconsciously glances at that figure in the corner, his eyes burning with an ever-growing flame. In the corner, Linbeay hid under the towel, listening to the system notification in his mind. Ding! Host has completed the shocking the entire audience achievement. Gained shock points, 100. A strong rival mentality has been detected in Rukawa Kaede. Bonus reward, small stamina potion x1. The template is extremely physically demanding. Looks like I'll have to be more careful with my skills from now on, or I might suddenly die. Lin Bei unscrewed a bottle of mineral water and pretended to drink it. In reality, they extracted the bottle of stamina potion and drank it down their throats. A warm current flowed through my body, and my sore muscles finally felt some relief. Hey, sleepyhead! A furtive voice sounded in my ear. Lin Bei lifted a corner of the towel and saw a magnified red face. Sakuragi Hanamichi was squatting next to him, looking constipated. What? If it's about borrowing money, forget it. Lin Bei cautiously clutched his pocket. Who wants to borrow money? Sakuragi lowered his voice and looked around. Once he was sure Akagi wasn't paying attention, he moved even closer. Hey, that move you just used, could you teach this genius a thing or two? Which move? That's it. He disappeared in a flash, and then scored in a whoosh. If I learn this trick, Haruko-san will definitely look at me in a new light. At that time, Sakuragi gestured wildly. Then I was lost in a pink fantasy, and my mouth was watering. Lin Bei rolled his eyes. Teach you? That's a system skill, and I'd like to teach it too. But I cannot do that right now. But... Looking at this simple single-celled organism, Lin Bei's eyes darted around. If I want to slack off comfortably in the team from now on, I'll need a compliant scapegoat. Sakuragi Hanamichi, limitless stamina, incredibly resilient, and obedient, only towards Haruko. He's practically the perfect tool. Want to learn? Lin Bei beckoned with his finger. Sakuragi immediately leaned in and put his ear close, like an obedient golden retriever. This is called secret technique instantaneous teleportation, a very profound skill. Lin Bei spoke nonsense with a straight face. If you want to learn this, you have to master the basics first. For example, buying water for my master, carrying his bag, blocking the captain's view for him. Also, from now on, when I don't want to run on the field, you'll be responsible for covering for me. Don't worry, I'll pay you your salary. Lin Bei smirked as he coaxed Sakuragi. Hey? What kind of training is this? Sakuragi asked, looking on with suspicion. This is called mental training. Lin Bei patted Sakuragi on the shoulder, speaking earnestly. Think about it, why is Rukawa Kaede so arrogant? It's because no one can punish him. If you listen to me, I guarantee you'll become the most dazzling guy in the whole school within a month, and Miss Haruko will only have eyes for you. Upon hearing the name Haruko, Sakuragi's IQ instantly dropped to 0. Really? More real than real gold? Yes. Master, please. From now on, leave small tasks like buying water to this genius. Sakuragi patted his chest and promised. Done. Linbei lay back down, satisfied. With this free labor, life should be much better from now on. The training continued until evening. When Akagi announced the disbandment, all the new students collapsed on the ground, exhausted like dead dogs. Only Linbei, having won the bet, had already taken a nap nearby, and now he was full of energy as he slung his school bag over his shoulder. Thank you all for your hard work. See you tomorrow. Amidst the envious, jealous, and resentful gazes of the crowd, he was the first to rush out of the stadium. That speed was at least 3 times faster than when he was getting back on defense. The stands on the second floor of the stadium. A short, stout old man wearing glasses was smiling as he watched Linbei's departing figure. At that moment, Nori Akagi, wiping his sweat, walked up with a somewhat complicated expression. Coach Anze, that kid. His talent is indeed amazing, but that attitude. He's a cancer on the team. Should I teach him a lesson? Coach Anze pushed up his glasses, and a reflection flashed on the lenses. Ho ho ho. He let out his signature laugh. Akagi-kun, don't rush. This is a raw, uncarved stone. And. Coach Anze stared at the empty doorway, his gaze becoming deep. This year's Shohoku High School might become quite interesting because of these few eccentric first-year students. Ho ho ho! At the same time, behind the big tree outside the stadium, a boy wearing a Ryonan High School uniform was holding a small notebook, his hands trembling like a Parkinson's patient. Hikoichi Aida. A first-year student on the Ryonan basketball team, and also the most fervent information-gathering fanatic. He originally came to spy on Rukawa Kaede. But he never expected to witness such a horrific scene. That's terrifying. Yan Yi looked at the data recorded in the notebook and broke out in a cold sweat. That guy named Lin Bei, that shooting style, that speed on the drive. We must report this to Coach Daka immediately. Shohoku has produced an incredible monster. Write this down. Write down the important parts. Yan Yi closed his notebook, hopped on his bicycle, and pedaled furiously until he disappeared into the afterglow of the setting sun. His exclamation could be faintly heard in the wind. Unbelievable. Chapter 4. Lingnan High School, Basketball Gym. The setting sun dyed the huge French windows blood red. The floor gleamed from the solace of shoes, and the air was thick with the scent of male hormones. Defense. Move your feet. Yuazumi-senpai, backboard. Roars of anger rose and fell. Takashige Ichi stood on the sidelines with his arms crossed, his brow furrowed. He is very confident in this year's lineup. 2-meter-tall behemoth Jun Yuazumi, and genius scorer Akira Sendo. This is the best opportunity for Ryonan to make a run for the national championship. Bang! The door was violently kicked open. Everyone paused for a moment. Aida Hikoichi rushed in and slammed onto the floor with a loud crash. Ignoring the pain, he scrambled towards Takashige Ichi. Teach, coach. Something terrible has happened. Yan was out of breath, and the notebook in her hand was crumpled in her hand. Hikoichi. How many times have I told you, salute before entering the stadium? And what's with all this fuss? Takashigika's forehead veins bulged. No, coach. It's Shohoku. I'm going to Shohoku to scout. There was still a trace of fear in Yan Yi's eyes. Shohoku. That one-man team led by Akagi? What's there to scout? Besides Akagi, only Rukawa Kaede from Tomioka Junior High is worth paying attention to. Taka snorted dismissively. No. It's not Rukawa Kaede. Yan Yi suddenly flipped open the notebook and pointed to the messy, illegible handwriting on it. It's a first-year international student named Lin Bei. He instantly defeated Rukawa Kaede in a one-on-one duel. The words had barely left his mouth. The entire stadium fell into a brief, deathly silence. A burst of laughter immediately followed. Hey, Yan Yi, did you fall asleep and dream during your reconnaissance? Instantly defeated Rukawa Kaede? That MVP! How could a rookie of this caliber possibly go to Shohoku? They'd have been poached long ago, just like Sendo. Off-road and grass planting were laughing so hard they were doubled over. Even Jun Yuazumi, who was as large as a small mountain, let out a muffled nasal sound. Humph, nonsense. It's true. I saw it with my own eyes. That speed, it was like a ghost. Rukawa didn't even have time to react before the ball went in. Yan Yi exclaimed anxiously, his face turning red. And Linbeay also said. What did you say? Takashige Ichi asked instinctively, though he didn't believe it. He said, playing was too tiring, and he only won so he could leave early. Ha! Takashige Ichi was stunned. What kind of ridiculous excuse is that? This is even more outrageous than when Rukawa Kaede said it was close to home. All right, Yan Yi. Taka waved his hand, looking impatient. I think you're so intimidated by the name Rukawa Kaede that you're hallucinating. What kind of monsters could a lousy public school like Shohoku have? Compared to this. Taka turned around, his anger blazing as he surveyed the room. Where's that BD Sendo again? The entire team fell silent. Everyone looked at each other, and no one dared to speak. Just then, the door in the corner of the stadium was pushed open a crack. A boy with spiky hair poked half his body in, holding a fishing rod in his hand. Ah, everyone's here. The sunset is beautiful today, perfect for fishing. After saying this, Sendo wore his signature harmless smile. Immortals. The way. Manifestation. Takashijika's roar nearly blew the roof off. Coach, I just went to the beach to think about life's tactics. Sendo shrank back, chuckled dryly, and scratched his head. He leisurely changed his shoes and walked into the arena. As he passed by Hikoichi, Sendo stopped and glanced at the notebook. There was a simple little figure drawn on it, with the words unbelievable and Linbeay written in large characters next to it. Instantly defeat Rukawa Kaede. Sendo narrowed his eyes, a playful smile curving his lips. Winning in order to leave early. That kind of personality sounds like we should get along really well. He patted Yan Yi on the shoulder, take me to see that Linbeay guy next time. Yan Yi was so moved that he burst into tears, Senior Sendao. Finally, someone believes me. The following day, at Shohoku High School. The classrooms of the first-year high school students were filled with the sound of students reading aloud. The math teacher on the podium is explaining quadratic functions with great enthusiasm. And in the last row of the classroom, by the window, is the book titled The King's Hometown. Linbeay was using the upright textbook as cover to sleep soundly. Sunlight shone on his face, and his eyelashes cast a shadow beneath his eyelids. For someone determined to slack off, class time is the best time to catch up on sleep. Linbeay, classmate. The chalk stub, like a precisely guided missile, traced a parabola. Smack! It hit Linbeay squarely on the forehead. Linbeay suddenly woke up with a start and reflexively wiped the drool from the corner of his mouth. Arrive! The whole class burst into laughter. The math teacher pushed up his glasses, a cold glint in his eyes. Come up and solve this problem. Linbeay walked onto the podium, still half asleep. Looking at the symbols on the blackboard that looked like gibberish, he yawned. System notification, host is facing an academic crisis. Do you want to spend 10 slacking points to exchange for a genius card? 1 minute. Exchange. Linbeay silently recited in his heart. in order to avoid being kept after school and having their club activities taken up by their time. Of course, the main reason was to be lazy. This investment is necessary. Swish, swish, swish. Chalk danced across the blackboard. 30 seconds later, Lin Bei threw away the chalk, dusted off his hands, and turned back to his seat. 3 different solutions were left on the blackboard, the last of which even used a method from advanced university mathematics. The classroom was completely silent. The math teacher's mouth dropped open, and his glasses slipped down his nose. As Lin Bei passed the podium, he even politely asked, "Teacher, can I go back to sleep now? I haven't finished my dream yet." Lunch break, on the rooftop. Lin Bei lay in the shadow of the water tank, a straw dangling from his mouth as he drank strawberry milk. "Master!" A deafening roar shattered the silence. The iron gate was kicked open, and Sakuragi Hanamichi charged forward like a red gorilla. He was holding 2 huge fried noodle buns in his hands. "This is a gift to you. Can you teach me the secret of instant teleportation today?" Sakuragi handed the bread to Lin Bei with a fawning expression. Lin Bei glanced at the bread. "Yes, the deluxe version, with double the amount of meat. This child is teachable." He slowly tore open the packaging and took a bite. "The path of flowers. Here." Sakuragi stood at attention. "To learn teleportation, you must first learn stillness." Lin Bei pointed to himself. "Look at me, am I very quiet?" "Yes. I'm very lazy," Sakuragi answered honestly. "Wrong. In Huxia, this is described as still as a virgin, swift as a rabbit. The chakra within you, no, it's your basketball spirit that's too restless. Starting today, you will practice meditation. Just stay in one position and imagine yourself as a stone. If you can stay still for an hour, I'll teach you the next move," Lin Bei said, making up a lie with a straight face. "Really?" Sakuragi's eyes lit up. "More real than pearls." Chapter 5. Then, a bizarre scene unfolded on the rooftop. Lin Bei lay down to sleep. A red-haired delinquent was squatting nearby, his hands forming a mudra, his eyes closed. At the same time, he muttered to himself, "I am a stone, I am a stone." 5 minutes later, the rooftop door was pushed open again. Haruko Akagi came up carrying a bento box. "Sakuragi-kun? Hayashi-kun? Is Sakuragi-kun constipated?" Haruko asked in surprise. Sakuragi's expression was indeed ferocious, his face was flushed red, and the veins on his forehead were throbbing. "Wow! Haruko-san. No, that's not it. This is spiritual practice. It's the secret to basketball that Master Lin Bei taught me." Sakuragi instantly lost his composure and hurriedly straightened up. "Master." Haruko blinked her big eyes and looked at Lin Bei, who was still sleeping. Lin Bei turned over, facing away from the two of them, and waved. "Don't listen to his nonsense, he's just constipated." In the afternoon, at the basketball court, Akagi Takenori stood at the very front of the group, his expression serious. "Next week, we're going to Ryonan High School for a practice match." This statement is like a pebble thrown into a lake. "Ryonan? That semi-finalist team. I heard their Sendo Akira is incredibly powerful." The freshmen whispered among themselves. Akagi coughed and took out a list. "This practice match is mainly for fine-tuning the team's cohesion. The following is the team roster: Takeshi Akagi, Kiminobu Kagure, Yasuharu Yasuda, Tetsushi Shiozaki, Satoru Junoda." Akagi paused for a moment after reading this. His gaze swept over Lin Bei, who was standing at the back of the line, leaning against the wall and yawning, and then looked at Sakuragi, who had an expectant look on his face. "Rukawa Kaede. Here." Rukawa Kaede replied coldly. "And Lin Bei. 2. Lin Bei raised his hand weakly. The list has been read. The air froze for 3 seconds. And what about me? Gorilla. What's this genius's name? Why are that fox and this sleepyhead both here, but I'm not? Sakuragi Hanamichi rushed out of the line, pointed at his own nose, and his face turned a deep purplish red. You're a beginner. You don't even understand the rules? Aren't you just going to embarrass yourself? Akaji's forehead creased with a well shape. Damn it! I have secret training. I've learned to kill with my eyes, and I can teleport. Sakuragi persisted, even attempting to grab Akaji by the collar. Bang! Akaji gave him a sharp rap on the head without any hesitation. Sakuragi covered his head, tears welling in his eyes, and turned to look at Lin Bei. Master! You be the judge. This isn't fair. Lin Bei sighed. This is such a hassle. If we don't appease this single-celled organism, we definitely won't be able to slack off properly later. He walked over and patted Sakuragi on the shoulder. Hanamichi, you're wrong. Ha! Think about it, would you casually display such powerful weapons? Lin Bei lowered his voice, his expression mysterious. The real trump cards are always revealed at the most crucial moment. The captain is using you as a secret weapon. A secret weapon. Sakuragi froze, repeating the word to himself. That's right. Lin Bei pointed at Rukawa Kaede. Rukawa Kaede is a standard weapon, a consumable, used to wear down the enemy's stamina. And you're there to deliver the final blow. What if we put you up there from the start and the people of Ryonan get scared away? This logic is riddled with flaws. But in Sakuragi Hanamichi's mind, a perfect closed loop was formed. His expression shifted from anger to shock, and then to ecstasy. Finally, he put his hands on his hips, looked up at the sky, and laughed loudly. Ha ha ha! I see. The gorilla really did have good taste. I am the secret weapon. The secret weapon. Akaji's lips twitched as he looked at Lin Bei. UBD, don't you feel any guilt lying to a fool? Lin Bei shrugged. Captain, this is called tactical psychological counseling. All right, let's begin training. Akaji roared. Lin Bei, step forward. Lin Bei's heart skipped a beat. Captain, I'm not feeling well today, my uncle. Don't give me that. Akaji tossed the ball to him. I watched your offense yesterday, you really have some skill. However, basketball is not just about offense. Let me see your defense. Akaji walked to the basket, turned his back, and stood in position. Come on, guard me. The entire room fell silent. Take Nori Akaji, 197 centimeters tall, 90 kilograms, humanoid gorilla. Lin Bei is 188 centimeters tall and has a slender build. This is like hitting the jackpot while riding a bicycle. Captain, if I get injured, will it be considered a work-related injury? Lin Bei asked with a pained expression as he walked over. Stop talking nonsense, come on. Akaji, holding the ball, suddenly leaned back. A tremendous force struck. Lin Bei felt like he was pushing against a wall. It's too heavy. He simply couldn't withstand Akaji's back attack. Akaji turned around, preparing to jump and dunk. In that very instant, a glint of blue light flashed in Lin Bei's dead fish eyes. Passive skill, sight guidance activated. Just as Akaji was about to jump, he suddenly felt his hand become lighter. Where's the ball? He turned around in surprise. Lin Bei was already standing behind him, seemingly out of nowhere. Holding the orange basketball in her hand, she was about to hand it to Kagure beside her. Senior Kagure, could you please carry this for me? It's incredibly heavy. Quiet. A deathly silence. Rukawa Kaede's pupils suddenly contracted. In that brief moment, even he didn't see how Lin Bei managed to get around him. It's like disappearing into thin air, and then reappearing out of thin air again. Akaji landed, staring at his empty hands, his face filled with disbelief. When did you? Just as you turned around. Captain, your movements were too exaggerated, they were full of openings. Besides, all you saw was the basket, you didn't even look at me. Since you're not looking at me, then I'll take your ball. Lin Bei said, rubbing his chest where he had been bumped. These words, while not particularly hurtful, are extremely insulting. Akaji took a deep breath and looked at the lazy boy in front of him. A premonition I'd never felt before welled up inside me. This year's Shohoku. Perhaps it really could turn the world upside down in Kanagawa. Very good. Akaji said in a deep voice, Linbeay, you'll be a substitute in the match against Ryonan. Yay! Linbeay cheered, raising his arms. However, Akaji changed the subject, if the situation turns unfavorable, you must step in immediately. What if we lose? Akaji clenched his fist, making a cracking sound. You and Sakuragi will clean the gym floor together until graduation. Linbeay's smile froze on his face. Is this what they call bullying on the court? Absolutely, right. He wailed inwardly. For that damn undefeated bonus, and to avoid mopping the floor. It seems I won't be able to sleep the whole way on this trip to Ryonan. Sendo Akira. The image of that broom-headed man flashed into Lin Bei's mind. Hopefully it will be at least a little bit interesting. Otherwise, I might, actually fall asleep. Chapter 6. The Inotan train travels slowly along the Shonan coastline. The wheels made a rhythmic clanging sound as they struck the rails. Outside the window is the shimmering sea. Sunlight spilled across the sea, shattering into countless golden flakes, while the distant outline of Enoshima appeared and disappeared in the mist. This should have been a breathtaking landscape, perfect for listening to city pop with headphones and enjoying an ice-cold soda. But at this moment, Lin Bei only wanted to jump out of the car. Ha 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 ha! Gorilla! Look at that! Is that Ryonan High School? Is that bald guy fishing? This genius will bring Haruko-san fishing someday. Rukawa Kaede. You damn fox, wake up! Get up and let's duel! Sakuragi Hanamichi was pressed against the car window. The redhead bobbed back and forth like a high-wattage light bulb, chattering incessantly at a volume loud enough to drown out the train's announcements. The passengers in the carriage all cast strange glances at them. There was disdain, fear, and also curiosity about seeing rare animals. Akaji Takenori sat in his seat with his arms crossed, the veins on his forehead throbbing into a well shape. He had his eyes closed, seemingly struggling to suppress a murderous urge. Sitting in the corner, Lin Bei silently pulled his hoodie down to cover his entire face. They attempted to sever their connection with the outside world through this physical isolation. I don't know him. I don't know him. Lin Bei silently recited the incantation in his mind. The trip to Ryonan for practice matches was nothing short of mental torture for him. To prevent Sakuragi Hanamichi from getting lost along the way or provoking stray dogs on the roadside, Akaji deliberately arranged for Lin Bei to sit next to Sakuragi to keep an eye on him. Master! Master, look! Is that the legendary bikini? Sakuragi suddenly turned around, his large face close to Lin Bei's, excitedly pointing out the window. Lin Bei sighed helplessly, lifted a corner of his hat, revealing a lifeless, dead fish eye. The flower path, that's an old man doing his morning exercise in a vest. Also, as a secret weapon, you must maintain an air of mystery. Have you ever seen a secret weapon that screams and yells before launch? This statement clearly hit Sakuragi's blind spot. He paused for a moment, then his expression changed to one of sudden realization. He covered his mouth with both hands and nodded vigorously. Then, striking what he thought was a profound pose, he stiffly sat back down in his seat. The world is finally quiet. Lin Bei slumped back into his seat, glancing at Rukawa Kaede diagonally across from him out of the corner of his eye. This guy is truly ruthless. No matter how much Sakuragi argued, Rukawa always wore headphones and kept his eyes closed. A snot bubble, sometimes big, sometimes small, was even hanging on the tip of its nose. It was sleeping so peacefully. Is this the mental fortitude of an ace? Your sleep quality is even better than mine. Linbeay was green with envy. As the train's announcement came on, the members of Shohoku High School disembarked from the platform. A salty, damp sea breeze swept over me. Lingnan High School is nestled between mountains and the sea, boasting stunning scenery. But at this moment, a chilling atmosphere permeated the air. At the school gate, a short boy with a notebook in his hand was peeking around. When he saw the Shohoku team, his eyes widened instantly, as if he had seen aliens descend. Here they come! Shohoku is here! Aida Hikoichi gasped, nearly dropping his pen. His gaze passed over Akagi, who stood like a black tower, and over Rukawa, whose face was cold and indifferent, and was fixed on the lazy figure yawning at the back of the group. That's Lin Bei, the legendary man who instantly defeated Rukawa Kaede just to leave early. Yan Yi's hands were trembling as he quickly jotted down notes in his notebook. Observation log, target Lin Bei, walking posture is extremely relaxed, suspected of conserving energy. His eyes were unfocused, as if he was observing for any flaws, or perhaps he was still half asleep. Scratch that, no, it's definitely a pretense. Hazard level, S. Hey, you shorty over there, what bad things are you writing? Sakuragi Hanamichi keenly noticed Hikoichi's gaze, immediately moved closer, and glared at him menacingly. Wow! A weirdo with red hair. I'm Aida Hikoichi, a first-year student at Ryonan High School. I'm here to scout, no, to welcome everyone. Yan Yi took 2 steps back in fright. Humph, intimidated by my genius aura, aren't you? Sakuragi smugly ruffled his hair. Let's go, Sakuragi. Akagi Takenori gave a low shout and led his team straight into the gates of Ryonan. Linbeay paused for a moment as he passed Yan Yi. He turned his head to look at the notebook in Yan Yi's hand, and the corners of his mouth turned up slightly. Your handwriting is quite good. After saying that, he put his hands in his pockets and slowly followed the group. Yan froze on the spot, his back instantly soaked with cold sweat. That look, it was as if it saw right through me. This is terrible. We must tell Coach Daka immediately. Lingnan Basketball Gymnasium. Beneath the enormous dome, the floor reflected blinding light. The 2 teams faced off in the center of the field. On one side was the Ryonan team, clad in dark blue jerseys and exuding an imposing aura. Leading the group was Captain Jun Uajumi, who stood at 2.02 meters tall. He was like a moving mountain, exuding a suffocating sense of oppression. On the other side was Shohoku, wearing red jerseys. Akagi Takenori stared back defiantly at Uajumi, their gazes clashing in mid-air, as if sparks were about to fly. Akagi, long time no see. Ryonan's coach, Shigeichi Daka, walked over, holding a folding fan in his hand, with a forced smile on his face. Coach Daka. Akagi bowed slightly. I heard you finally managed to assemble your starting lineup this year. Daka Shichika's gaze swept over the Shohoku team, his eyes filled with undisguised contempt. Rukawa Kaede, well, he's definitely a good newcomer. But his gaze lingered on Sakuragi Hanamichi and Lin Bei, and he couldn't help but chuckle. A red-haired delinquent, and another. Daka pointed to Lin Bei, who was leaning against Coach Anze and seemed ready to fall asleep at any moment. Is that guy just there to make up the numbers? He looks like he can't even hold the ball properly. Akagi, are you sure this is the lineup you want to challenge us with? Don't let us lose too badly and then say that Ryonan bullied us. These words were like a thorn, piercing deep into the hearts of everyone at Shohoku. You damn old man! What did you say? This genius is a secret weapon. You know what a secret weapon is? Sakuragi Hanamichi instantly bristled, rolled up his sleeves, and was about to charge forward. Stop, Sakuragi! Akagi grabbed Sakuragi's head and pressed it down. But his own face was terribly gloomy. Coach Duka, the match hasn't even started yet, don't speak too soon. Akagi's voice was deep and powerful. Shohoku is different this year. Yet. Duka Shigeichi shrugged noncommittally. Then let me see. What exactly is the difference between you two? Chapter 7. Oh right, Sendo hasn't arrived yet. Duka glanced at his watch and frowned slightly. He then relaxed, but even without Sendo, Uazumi and the others are more than enough to deal with you. Arrogant. The other team members present clenched their fists at that moment. Just then, a lazy voice suddenly rang out. Excuse me. Everyone looked in the direction of the sound. Linbeay raised one hand, while rubbing his sleepy eyes with the other. Excuse me, where is the away team's bench? The lights here are too bright. Is there a place that's dimmer, and preferably well ventilated? The entire hall fell silent. Duka Shigeichi was stunned. Uazumi was stunned. Even Akagi felt his face burning. This guy. In this tense and volatile moment. What they care about is where they can sleep comfortably. Puff. Someone in the Ryonan team couldn't help but laugh out loud. Ha ha ha. This is Shohoku's new recruit. Is he here on vacation? I'm dying of laughter, Captain Akagi, where did you guys pick up this clown? A wave of laughter followed. Duka Shigeichi shook his head even more, his contempt deepening. It seems I overestimated you. Akagi, you can't win with players like that. Akagi took a deep breath and turned to look at Lin Bei. There was no blame in his eyes, but rather a deeper meaning. Lin Bei. Go sit down. But remember what I said yesterday. Only Lin Bei could hear Akagi's voice. If things don't look good, you'd better get up here. Received, Captain. Lin Bei was granted a general amnesty. Completely ignoring the laughter around him, he walked straight to the bench in the corner. He found the most comfortable angle and pulled the towel over his head. But the instant the towel covered his face, a barely perceptible glint of cold light flashed in his dead fish eyes. System notification: enemy coach Shigeichi Duka's group taunt has been detected. Task released, the moment of slap in the face. Mission objective: make Duka Shigeichi show an incredulous expression at least 3 times during the match. Quest rewards: medium stamina potion x1, skill point x1. Failure penalty: forced participation in a week-long grueling physical training program. Tisk. A soft sigh came from under the towel. I originally wanted to quietly be a handsome man. You're forcing me to work overtime. Why are all the old men these days so eager to be taught a lesson? The immortal path is not here, I'll take a nap first. Hurry, hurry. The match seems to have already started. The heavy iron door of the gymnasium was pushed open a crack, and 3 girls squeezed in, panting. Haruko Akagi ran in the lead, her cheeks flushed from the intense running. Fujiai and Matsui behind him were even more out of breath, their hands on their knees, unable to straighten up. Thankfully, I made it in time. Haruko patted her chest, her gaze eagerly fixed on the basketball court. But the next second, she froze. The front row of the stands. 3 girls in matching uniforms were waving colorful balls in unison, their shrill voices like piercing magic. Rukawa Kaede. Rukawa Kaede. Love. Rukawa Kaede. Rukawa Kaede's personal guard. That fervent atmosphere seemed particularly jarring in the stadium, where only a handful of spectators were present. Well. Haruko shrank back somewhat awkwardly and silently led her best friend to a corner. Wow! Rukawa's popularity is really high, Fujiai muttered to himself. On the field. The referee blew the whistle. Beep. Take Nori Akagi and Jun Uazumi, 2 giant towers, jumped at the same time. Drink up! With his incredible speed, Akagi touched the basketball with his fingertips first. The ball was tipped towards Shohoku's backcourt. Good shot! Gorilla! Beat that monkey boss to the ground! Sakuragi Hanamichi was waving his fist on the sidelines, his voice so loud that it could be heard even on the second floor. Shut up! That's the captain! Ayako tapped Sakuragi on the back of the head with a paper fan. In the stands, Yohei and 3 other members of Sakuragi's army were leaning against the railing, with freshly bought drinks in their mouths. Wow, Hanamichi is still so energetic. But it looks like he's going to be sidelined again. After all, it's a secret weapon, ha ha ha. Unan Yuji laughed without a care in the world. The situation on the field suddenly changed. Yasuda had just received the ball from Akagi and was preparing to dribble it across half-court. A blue and white figure suddenly appeared from the side. Tomoyuki Yukusa, number 6 of Ryonan High School. Even in Ryonan High School, a team known for its defense, his stealing ability is among the best. Smack! A crisp sound of the ball being broken. Yasuda felt his hand suddenly go empty, the ball was gone. What? Before the Shohoku team could react, the grass has already made a long run to the basket and easily scored a layup. 2-0. Ryonan took the initiative and won. On the sidelines, Shige Ichidaka crossed his arms, a smug smile playing on his lips. Humph, just as I expected. Besides Akagi, Shohoku's point guard is too inexperienced. As long as we shut down Akagi, and then exploit the opponent's defensive mistakes. This year, our Lingnan team will definitely make it to the national competition. Daka watched Yasuda, who seemed somewhat flustered on the field, and felt a secret sense of satisfaction. Shohoku launches an attack. Akagi take Nori held a key position in the paint, with Uazumi standing behind him like a boulder. Give me the ball! Akagi roared. The ball was passed to Akagi. He backed down the opponent, forcefully pushed past Uazumi, and turned to slam dunk. Don't underestimate me! Uazumi let out a roar, and his massive body sprang up again, slamming a large hand down on the basketball. Bang! A block, player, and ball included. So strong! Kagure retrieved the ball from the floor and attempted a mid-range shot. Smack! Another large hand appeared, and Uazumi jumped a second time, swatting Kagure's shot out of bounds. My god! Is that big guy a monster? 2 consecutive blocks. A gasp rippled through the audience. The next few minutes were a nightmare for Shohoku. Rukawa attempted to break through, but was blocked by Uazumi's help defense, and his shot missed. Akagi attacked again, committing a traveling violation while being double-teamed by Uazumi and forward Ikumi. Meanwhile, the attack from Ryonan proceeded smoothly and effortlessly. Off-road's 3-pointers, Yukusa's fast breaks, and Uazumi's dominant baskets. The numbers on the scoreboard were jumping wildly. 10-0. 14-0. Shohoku has yet to score a single point. Okay. That's it. Crush them in one fell swoop. We need to get 100 points. On the Ryonan bench, the players' morale soared, and their shouts were deafening. On the Linbeay side, the atmosphere was so oppressive it was suffocating. Dad! Let me play! Sakuragi Hanamichi could no longer sit still. He rushed up to Coach Anzai, his face almost pressed against Coach Anzai's glasses. Look at that fox, Rukawa Kaede, he's totally useless. Only this genius can save the team. Let me go up and smash that monkey boss into the air. Chapter 8. Coach Anzai remains as steady as ever. The lenses reflected the light, he chuckled softly, but said nothing. Damn it! Sakuragi was so anxious he was scratching his head. He turned his head and saw the figure covered with a towel still motionless at the other end of the bench. Hey! Master! What time is it and you're still sleeping? We're going to lose. Sakuragi rushed over, trying to shake Linbei awake. But before she could even touch Linbei's shoulder, Caizi and several substitute players held her down firmly. Sakuragi! Stop fooling around! Linbei is a substitute, let him rest. Let me go. I need to ask my master if he has any ultimate killing technique. Sakuragi struggled in the crowd, like a live fish pinned to a chopping board. Just then, a soft snoring sound came from under the towel. Huff, huff. It has a very rhythmic feel. Everyone paused for a second. That mental fortitude. Ayako's lips twitched. In the stands. Yahei watched this scene and shook his head helplessly. Sakuragi's about to explode. Yes. Although he's usually a bit of a goofball, he hates losing the most. Takamiya Nozomi stuffed a handful of popcorn into his mouth. But Yahei's gaze fell on the sleeping figure. That Linbei, is he really planning to sleep the whole game? Just then, the stadium doors were pushed open again. A tall, slender figure walked in against the light. A spiky hairstyle, a lazy smile, and a gym bag in his hand. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm late. Sendo Akira. Ryonan's ace has finally made his appearance. Sendo. Where have you been again? Takashijika's roar echoed throughout the arena. The alarm clock is broken. Sendo made up an excuse without any sincerity, glancing at the scoreboard while changing his shoes. Oh? 14-0. Looks like everyone did a great job. He took off his jacket, revealing Ryonan's number 7 jersey, and walked straight to the scorer's table. Substitute. Sendo entered the game, replacing Koya. With Sendo's appearance, the atmosphere in the entire arena seemed to change. That subtle sense of pressure instantly sharpened Rukawa Kaede's gaze. They've arrived. Rukawa Kaede stared intently at Sendo. The game continues. Shohoku serves. The ball ended up in Rukawa's hands. Facing Sendo, he lowered his center of gravity and dribbled between his legs twice in a row, trying to find a breakthrough. Sendo simply stretched out his arms lazily, even wearing a smile on his face. Don't be so nervous. Rukawa ignored him and suddenly accelerated to the right. Wow, so fast. Just as Rukawa thought he had escaped, a hand reached out like a ghost. Smack! The ball was intercepted. There were no fancy moves, just pure speed and accuracy. What? Rukawa Kaede's pupils shrank sharply. After intercepting the ball, Sendo did not sprint at full speed, but instead dribbled the ball forward at a leisurely pace. Rukawa chased after him desperately, standing in front of Sendo. Don't even think about going there. Sendo looked at Rukawa, then suddenly flicked his wrist. My gaze was fixed to the left, but the ball was passed to the right. No look pass. The basketball seemed to have eyes, passing between Rukawa's legs and flying precisely into the hands of Uazumi, who was unguarded under the basket. Boom! Uazumi slammed the ball down with both hands. 16-0. Wow! Sendo-senpai is so handsome. This is Ryonan's trump card. Hikoichi Aida was so excited on the sidelines that he was gesturing wildly, almost dropping his pen. Rukawa Kaede stood rooted to the spot, his chest heaving violently. That last shot. We've been completely fooled. Gap. A huge gap. Ha ha ha. Did you see that? This is the strength of Ryonan. Takashige exclaimed excitedly, waving his folding fan. With Sendo and Uazumi together, we're invincible. We're going to beat you by 30 points. No, 50 points. Taka became more and more excited as he spoke, and he stood on the sideline with his butt sticking out high, pointing at the field and shouting. Just then, a red figure appeared silently behind Takashige. Sakuragi Hanamichi squatted down, clasped his hands together, and joined his index and middle fingers. A wicked smile crept across his face. "Old man, you're too noisy. Take this." Pfft. The finger hit the bullseye precisely. A woo! A blood-curdling scream pierced the air above the stadium. Takashige Ichi was launched into the air like a rocket, clutching his buttocks and twitching in mid-air. The entire hall fell silent. Everyone gaped, their eyes practically popping out of their sockets. Even Sendo, who was on the defensive, was stunned and almost slipped and fell. "Is that your new tactic?" Sendo looked at Rukawa, completely bewildered. Rukawa Kaede turned his head away. "I don't know him." "UBD. What are you doing?" Akagi Take Nori roared as he charged forward and slammed his fist into Sakuragi's chest. "Ouch! Ouch! Ouch! What are you doing, gorilla? I just found his yelling and shouting so annoying," Sakuragi said, covering his head and looking aggrieved. At this point, the scoreboard read 19:0. Ryonan scores again. Xiangbei has yet to achieve a harvest. A sense of despair spread through the hearts of the Shohoku team members. Kagure wiped the fog off his glasses, his hands trembling. Yasuda and Shiozaki were too afraid to touch the ball. Even Akagi's eyes dimmed slightly as he looked at the huge score difference. At this suffocating moment, in the corner of the bench, the white towel suddenly moved. A hand reached out and ripped the towel away. Linbeay sat up straight. He twisted his neck, making a cracking sound. Then he reached up and rubbed his lower back, his brows furrowed, looking displeased. "Tisk! This old chair is too hard. I slept so much my back is about to break." Linbeay's voice wasn't loud, but it could be clearly heard in the quiet bench. All eyes were on him. At this moment, with the score at 0-19, the team was on the verge of collapse. The first thing this guy said when he woke up was that he complained the chair was too hard. Linbeay stood up, yawned widely, and squeezed out 2 physiological tears from the corners of his eyes. He glanced at the scoreboard. "Wow, 0-19. Looks like everyone had a lot of fun." As Linbeay spoke, he slowly took off his hoodie, revealing a number 16 jersey underneath. He walked up to Coach Anze and scratched his messy hair. "Coach. I'll go on." Coach Anze looked up, his eyes narrowing into slits behind his glasses. "Oh? Linbeay, are you awake?" "It's not that I've woken up." Linbeay pointed to the row of hard benches, looking disgusted. "I really can't sleep. If I keep sleeping, I'm afraid I'll get a herniated disc. Finish the game quickly, then go home quickly. This is the true way to maintain health." Upon hearing this reason, Ayako nearly snapped the notepad in her hand. "What kind of ridiculous reason is that? The team is about to lose, and you're just trying to go home and sleep early." But Coach Anze smiled. "Ho ho ho! Since you're not sleeping well, why don't you go and move around a bit? Change players. Linbeay replaces Yasuda." The whistle blew. Shohoku makes a substitution. Linbeay strolled leisurely to the sidelines and gave a high five to a dejected Yasuda. "Thank you for your hard work, Yasuda-senpai. Leave the rest to me." Yasuda paused for a moment, looking at Linbeay's still listless, dead fish eyes. "For some reason, a strange sense of peace suddenly welled up inside me." Linbeay stepped onto the court. He stood in the center circle, his gaze sweeping over the menacing Ryonan team opposite him. Finally, it settled on the immortal. Sendo was also looking at him, a hint of curiosity in his eyes. "Oh? That's the Linbeay that Yan Yi mentioned." Sendo smiled. "You look really sleepy." Linbeay sighed. "A system notification sounded in my mind. Mission triggered, win the match. Reward, all attributes +1. Upon hearing the words all attributes +1, Linbeay's previously cloudy eyes instantly brightened. although it only lasted for a moment. But that sharp, knife-like aura caused the smile on the other side of the immortal to freeze. Everyone. Linbay turned around and looked at Akagi and Rukawa, who were covered in sweat. Don't look so unhappy. I'm in a hurry. Let's finish this quickly, I'm in a hurry to get back and watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Akagi Tekinori's lips twitched as he looked at the lazy figure, but the gloom in his eyes mostly dissipated. Stop talking big, UBD. If you lose, you'll have to mop the entire floor when you get back. Linbay shrugged. That won't do. Mopping the floor is too tiring. He turned around, facing Ryonan's basketball hoop, and extended his right hand, gently hooking it with his index finger. Give me the ball. I'm going to start, taking control of the game. Chapter 9. Ryonan's offensive round has ended. The final score was 21-0. Although it was just a practice match, the point difference was enough to break any team. Defense! Defense! The roar of cheers from Ryonan's bench was deafening. They were celebrating their victory prematurely, as if the game was already over. Linbay stood at the baseline and received the ball from Akagi. Instead of rushing forward, he slowly patted the surface twice, his pace like an old man taking a stroll in the park. What is number 16 doing? He's probably terrified, he can't even dribble anymore. Scattered jeers of laughter came from the audience. In Ryonan's half, their defensive formation was already in place. Sendo Akira stood at the top of the arc, his gaze fixed on Rukawa Kaede. Jun Uajumi stood like an iron tower guarding the paint, firmly blocking Takenori Akagi's position. The player responsible for defending Linbay was Ryonan's point guard, Tomoyuki Yukyusa. Yukyusa looked at his opponent, who was dribbling slowly, and felt a little contemptuous. This loose posture reveals numerous weaknesses. With just a little pressure, the ball can be broken. Planting grass lowers the center of gravity, preparing to advance and seize the opportunity. In that very instant, Linbay's gaze shifted slightly to the right, towards Rukawa Kaede's position. Planting grass instinctively shifted its attention for a moment. When he turned around again, there was nothing in front of him. Where are they? The grass plant's pupils suddenly contracted, and it looked around. That languid figure, like a drop of water merging into the ocean, vanished from his radar without warning. Plant grass. Behind. Takashige Ichi jumped up and down and roared on the sidelines. It's too late. An orange afterimage tore through the air. The ball was not in Linbay's hands. Instead, it was like a precision-guided cruise missile, hurtling straight towards Rukawa Kaede in the bottom left corner. The moment Rukawa caught the ball, even he himself was stunned for half a second. That was such a perfect pass. It's positioned perfectly at chest level, the patterns on the ball are clearly visible, requiring no adjustments. Sendo, caught off guard by the unpredictable pass, was a beat too slow. Rukawa Kaede didn't waste that half beat. Jump, release. Press down gently with your wrist. Whoosh. The basketball went through the net cleanly. 21-2. Shohoku finally broke their scoring drought. Nice shot. Akagi Takenori clenched his fist and roared, finally letting out a breath of pent-up anger. Rukawa landed and turned to look at Linbay, who was walking back. The guy had his hands in his shorts, didn't even look at the goal, and just yawned as he walked by. Not bad luck, Linbay said casually. The next 2 minutes turned into a horror movie scene for the Ryonan team members. Linbay was like a ghost. He was standing on the field, wearing a bright red jersey, but Yukyusa just couldn't see him. Every time Hiko felt that Linbay posed no threat and relaxed his vigilance slightly to assist others in defense, the ball would inexplicably end up in the hands of Shohoku's scoring option. Bang! Takenori Akagi received the ball and slammed it down on the rim, roaring as he hung there. Whoosh! Rukawa Kaede's pull-up jumper went in again. 21-6. 23, 8. 25, 12. The score is rapidly closing in. The laughter from the audience disappeared, replaced by a series of confused buzzes. What happened? Shohoku suddenly came back to life. That number 16, did he just pass the ball? How come I couldn't see it clearly? Hikoichi Iida held a pen, his hand hovering in mid-air, but he didn't know what to write down. In his observation log, Linbeay's data was still blank. There were no breakthroughs, no points, and very few dribbles. But as soon as he gets the ball, Shohoku's offense spins like a gear with lubrication. Strangeness. On the field, Sendo Akira reached out and wiped the sweat from his forehead. He looked at Lin Bei, who was bending over tying his shoelaces not far away, actually taking a break, and his eyes gradually deepened. He clearly saw Lin Bei looking at Akagi during that last shot. Everyone's attention was drawn to the inside. But the ball, as if by magic, flew to Rukawa Kaede's hands on the outside. Eye contact guidance? Or is it simply a lack of presence? Yokusa. Sendo suddenly spoke, his voice not loud, but carrying an undeniable determination. Go defend against Rukawa Kaede. Ah! Yokusa froze, but Sendo-senpai, Rukawa is the ace. I'll take care of number 16. Sendo's lips curled into a playful smile, the expression of a hunter spotting interesting prey. If we don't keep an eye on him, this game will become very troublesome. Although he didn't understand, Yuzu nodded. Switching between offense and defense. Shohoku launches an attack. Linbeay had just crossed the halfway line when he felt a completely different kind of pressure. The spiky-haired guy blocked my way. Sendo Akira. He didn't press close like Yuzu, but kept a distance of 1.5 steps. This distance is ambiguous. It can both prevent breakthroughs and disrupt passing. Most importantly, Xiandao's eyes did not look at Lin Bei's face. Instead, he stared intently at the ball in Lin Bei's hand. Tisk! Lin Bei clicked his tongue in amazement. As expected of Sendo Akira. You discovered the weakness of eye-guided manipulation so quickly. The core of eye contact manipulation is to use eye contact and subtle movements to mislead the opponent's attention. However, if your opponent doesn't even look you in the eye, this move will be much less effective. Lin Bei tried to feint to the left. Immortal Deo remained completely still, his center of gravity as stable as a rock. It's useless. I don't know what magic trick you used. But as long as you adjust your field of vision, you won't disappear. Sendo spoke with a smile, his tone as relaxed as if he were having a casual chat. Lin Bei sighed. Do we really have to be this serious? Wouldn't it be better if everyone just played casually, worked up a sweat, and then went home for dinner? That won't do. Sendo shrugged. I'd love to go fishing too, but if I lose to you guys, Coach Daka will kill me. With Sendo personally marking them, Shohoku's nascent offense instantly went cold. Lin Bei couldn't pass the ball. Rukawa Kaede is being harassed by Yokusa and off-road together. Inside player Akagi's stamina was rapidly depleted under the physical battle with Uajumi. Bang! Akagi's hook shot hit the front of the rim. Uajumi grabbed the rebound, let out a roar, and immediately made a long pass. Sendo instantly sprang into action, shaking off Lin Bei, and scored a layup after receiving the ball. 27-12. The point difference widened again. Lin Bei stood there, watching Xiandao's retreating figure. A barely perceptible glint flashed in those dead fish eyes. So handsome. When I was a kid, I read comics and thought this guy was a real genius. High football IQ, good technique, and a good personality. If I could recruit him to Shohoku, I could retire completely. Just as Lin Bei was lost in thought, the atmosphere on the sidelines suddenly became tense. Damn it! That monkey leader is too tall. The gorilla can't hold on much longer. Sakuragi Hanamichi was frantic on the sidelines, like a cat on a hot tin roof, gripping the railing and shaking it wildly. Dad! Let me play! Only this genius can punish that monkey boss. Coach Anze adjusted his glasses, and a beam of white light reflected off the lenses. He glanced at the panting Akagi, then at the huge gap in the paint. Indeed, relying solely on Akagi puts too much pressure on the inside defense. We need a disruptor. A master of chaotic battles who doesn't play by the rules. Sakuragi-kun. Coach Anze began slowly. Exist. Sakuragi instantly stood at attention, his eyes shining. Go and relieve Kagure. You only have one task. Coach Anze held up one finger. Control the rebounds. Control the rebound. Control the rebounds, control the game. These words struck like a bolt of lightning, cleaving through Sakuragi's confused mind. I am the man who can control the game. Sakuragi trembled all over, it was a sign of extreme excitement. Beeb. Shohoku makes a substitution. Chapter 10. Court Oath. Sakuragi Hanamichi tossed his jacket aside, revealing his number 10 jersey. He walked confidently and arrogantly toward the court. Puff. What's that redhead doing up here? Is that Shohoku's mascot? He seems like a complete novice. Laughter erupted again from the audience. Sakuragi's steps faltered for a moment. Nervous. An unprecedented tension. Sakuragi walked onto the court, his hands and feet moving in uncoordinatedly, like a rusty robot. Sakuragi! Stop spacing out! Akagi yelled. Yes, yes! Captain Gorilla! Sakuragi saluted in fright. Ha 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 ha! The Ryonan team members laughed so hard they couldn't stand up straight. Just as Sakuragi was at a loss, a hand was placed on his shoulder. Sakuragi! Lin Bei's voice rang in my ears. Sakuragi turned his head and saw Lin Bei looking at him with a serious expression. Master, master! Take it easy. Lin Bei pointed to Sendo across the street, see that guy with the broom-shaped haircut. I saw him. That arrogant guy. I just told him that you're my secret weapon, specially sent up here to deal with him. Really? Sakuragi's eyes widened. Certainly. Lin Bei, with a straight face, made up a story. Now, I'm going to teach you a combination technique. A combination technique. The image of Ultraman combining instantly flashed into Sakuragi's mind. This move is called Iron Wall. Lin Bei lowered his voice and pointed to the side and behind Sendo. When I dribble past him, you stand in that spot and block him like a wall. If I can hold him off for even a second, I can score with my finishing move. This is a level of coordination that only my apprentice and I can achieve. Sakuragi was so excited that he exhaled 2 puffs of white breath from his nostrils. Leave it to me, master. This genius is an impenetrable fortress. The game continues. Shohoku launches an attack. Lin Bei holds the ball, facing Sendo. Sendo maintained his relaxed and carefree demeanor, his gaze fixed on Lin Bei's center of gravity. Have they changed tactics again? Sendo looked at Sakuragi, who was standing next to him like a wooden stake, somewhat puzzled. Just then, Lin Bei made a move. There were no fancy changes of direction, it simply accelerated directly to the right. The immortal path immediately shifted horizontally to block it. Too slow. Just as Sendo was about to intercept the ball, he suddenly felt his body hit a wall. Bang! That's really hard. Sakuragi Hanamika's hands are protecting his groin, and his feet are firmly planted on the ground. They blocked the immortal's path of movement. Although the posture was awkward and the expression was ferocious. But he truly stood like a mountain, blocking the path to immortality. What? Sendo was taken aback. This novice is incredibly strong. Taking advantage of this brief opening, Lin Bei had already broken free of the defense. The view ahead was open and expansive. But instead of attempting a breakthrough, he came to an abrupt stop. He pushed off the ground with both feet and leaped high into the air. That same pose again. Unpredictable shooting form. Yuazumi wanted to cover, but the distance was too great. Linbei hovered in mid-air, then flicked his wrist slightly. The basketball traced an absurdly high parabola, soaring over everyone's heads. Everyone looked up, their gazes following the orange planet. Whoosh! The crisp sound of the net being rubbed was like heavenly music. Goal. 27-14. Yet. Sakuragi Hanamichi jumped up excitedly and rushed over to give Linbei a high five. Master! They're in! They're in! That's an impenetrable fortress! It's amazing! Linbei dodged Sakuragi's powerful slap that could have shattered a shoulder blade, and simply touched his fist to his. Well done! Keep it up! As long as you block me, I can score. Linbei turned his head and looked at the somewhat bewildered Sendo. A genuine smile finally appeared on his lips. Scoring without having to work so hard, it's so satisfying to slack off. Sendo-kun. 2 against 1, that's not a foul, right? Sendo paused for a moment, then smiled. He looked at the red-haired boy who was grinning foolishly, then at Linbei, whose eyes had sharpened. The fighting spirit in his eyes finally ignited completely. Interesting. Then let's give it a try. On the sidelines, Shige Ichiduka's tactical board was now crumpled and deformed from being squeezed so tightly. Looking at the well-coordinated first-year team, a strong sense of unease welled up inside him. Shohoku. Things have really changed. Beep. The referee blew his whistle, signaling the end of the first half. The scoreboard was frozen at a bright red 50:45. Shohoku is only 5 points behind. An eerie, oppressive atmosphere descended upon the entire Ryonan gymnasium. The Ryonan students, who were originally prepared to see Shohoku make a fool of themselves. At this moment, they were like ducks with their necks being choked, their mouths open but unable to make a sound. That perennial underdog, Shohoku. That Shohoku team with only take Nori Akagi. They're almost tied now? Huff, huff. Akagi take Nori rested his hands on his knees, sweat dripping from his chin onto the floor, splashing into tiny droplets. Although he was tired, his eyes shone with an alarming intensity. Well done, everyone. Keep this pace. We can win. Akagi's voice trembled slightly, a suppressed excitement. On the other side, in Ryonan's rest area, Takashige Ichi had almost crushed the tactical board in his hand. Coach Taka, who used to be so composed and always had a confident smile, now had a face as black as the bottom of a pot. LOL? Even if you tell him 100 lame jokes now, he still won't laugh. Is this your defense? That Rukawa Kaede scored 20 points. And Akagi dominated the paint. And that one. Taka's gaze swept over the bench at Shohoku High School, where number 16 was sprawled out, drinking water without any regard for his image. That number 16. Why are they always missing someone? He disappeared right under your nose. Yuko lowered her head, her face full of shame, yet she had no way to defend herself. He really can't see. We must change our strategy in the second half. Takashige Ichi took a deep breath, forcing himself to calm down. He turned around and looked at Sendo Akira, who was wiping his sweat. The path of immortality. Yes, coach. Sendo raised his head, his signature spiky hair still standing tall. But those usually lazy eyes now held a hint of seriousness. Stop playing. Show me your true skills. If you don't take this seriously, I'll break all your fishing rods and throw them into the sea to feed the fish, Taka said in a low, earnest voice. Sendo's smile froze for a moment. Coach, this threat is too vicious. Then win it back for me. Listen, in the second half we're going to focus on attacking the paint. Yuazumi, you need to be more assertive. And then Sendo, you. Dika picked up the tactical board and began drawing frantically. Just as Dika Shigeichi was passionately outlining his tactics. Suddenly, a red head appeared outside the circle formed by the Ryonan team members. There was a white towel on its head. He was peeking around furtively, occasionally nodding in agreement with Dika's words. That makes sense. I see, so we need to focus on attacking the paint. You old man, you've got some skills. Dika Shigeichi was speaking enthusiastically when he suddenly felt that something was wrong. This voice, why does it sound so unfamiliar? And that red hair? Is there really such a person in Ryonan? He abruptly stopped writing and turned his head. Their eyes met. Sakuragi Hanamichi blinked and gave an awkward but polite smile. Hey, old man. Go on, this genius is really enjoying it. Chapter 11. Quiet. A deathly silence. A huge well character appeared on Dika Shichika's forehead. My blood pressure spiked to 180 in an instant. You're that red-haired monkey from Shohoku. What are you doing? This is Ryonan's tactical meeting. Are you a spy? Dika Shichika's roar was deafening. What spy? That sounds awful. This is called spying. It's military strategy. Do you even know what military strategy is? Sakuragi stood up confidently, hands on his hips. UBD. Before Dika could react, a huge fist came crashing down from the sky. Thump. A dull thud. A large, smoking bump instantly appeared on Sakuragi Hanamika's head. Akagi Takenori, his face dark, grabbed Sakuragi by the collar and dragged him back like a dead dog. I'm sorry, Coach Dika. I apologize for my poor upbringing. Let me go. Gorilla. I overheard their secrets. Sakuragi struggled wildly in mid-air. Watching this farce unfold, Linbeay yawned and shoveled the last drop of his sports drink into his mouth. So energetic. He rubbed his slightly sore shoulders. However, the first half went a little too long. If this drags on any longer, we'll miss tonight's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure rerun. Linbeay stood up and stretched his wrists. It seems we'll have to make do with old man Dika for now. The second half of the match has begun. The two sides switched sides and resumed play. Ryonan has possession of the ball. As expected, Sendo Akira no longer held back. He dribbled the ball forward. Facing Rukawa's defense, he used a highly deceptive Buddhist-style fake move to shift Rukawa's center of gravity, and then accelerated into the paint. Reinforce the defense. Akagi roared. But Sendo pulled up in mid-air, dodging Akagi's block, and sent the ball into the basket with a backhand. 52-45. The movements were fluid and graceful, extremely elegant. Whoa! Sendo! Sendo! The cheers from Ryonan were deafening. Shohoku launches an attack. The ball came into Lin Bei's hands. At this moment, he was still being defended by Sendo. Looks like you're still half asleep. Sendo teased with a smile, looking at Lin Bei's half-open eyes. Yeah, I'm so sleepy. Lin Bei sighed, standing slouching, idly bouncing the ball in his hand. Sudden. There was no warning whatsoever. Lin Bei's expression changed. That languidness vanished instantly, replaced by a wild, beast-like savagery. Aya Mindaki's superspeed dribbling. Bang! The basketball slammed into the ground with a loud thud, as if it were hitting the floor. Lin Bei's body tilted at an extremely strange angle, and his speed instantly soared from 0 to 100. What? Immortal Deo only felt a blur before his eyes. This is no ordinary breakthrough. This change in speed, this change of direction that completely violates human biomechanics. That's too fast. Lin Bei was like a black lightning bolt, instantly tearing through the Immortal Path's defenses. He charged into the penalty area, facing Yu Azumi who was covering for him. Lin Bei did not slow down, instead, he leaned back. While losing his balance in mid-air, he casually tossed the ball towards the backboard. Mindaki's unpredictable shooting form. The ball hits the backboard and goes into the basket. 52-47. On the sidelines, Shigeichi Daka dropped his tactical board to the ground with a thud. His mouth gaped open, and his eyes nearly popped out. That action just now. Is that something a human could do? That kind of body control that allows you to maintain a smooth feel even at high speeds. How is this possible? Daka Shigeichi was shocked. Task progress, 1/3. Nice shot. The Shohoku bench erupted in cheers. Linbay landed and rubbed his wrist. Without even glancing at Daka, he turned and went back to defend. The first one. In the following rounds, the two sides were locked in a stalemate. Sendo displayed his ace-level skills, scoring consecutive points. On the Shohoku side, Akagi and Rukawa were also neck and neck. The score went back and forth. 58-56. It's Shohoku's turn to attack again. Linbay has the ball. Ryonan learned their lesson this time. Ikegami and Koshino also joined the flanking maneuver, attempting to block Linbay's breakthrough route. Three-man encirclement. Linbay's lips curled up slightly. Then let's try this. He held the ball with both hands, assuming a passing stance. But that posture was strange. It wasn't pushed, nor was it thrown. Instead, it's like a high five, with the palm slamming hard onto the ball. Tetsuya Kuroko accelerates to pass the ball. Bang! A muffled thud. The basketball seemed to transform into a cannonball, leaving a straight afterimage in the air. Ui only felt a gust of wind brush past his face, and didn't even see the trajectory of the ball clearly. The ball had already passed through the gap between several players and slammed straight towards Akagi at the baseline. The moment Akagi caught the ball, he felt a tingling sensation in his palm. What immense power! But he reacted incredibly quickly, turning around, jumping, and slamming the ball in. Boom! 58-58. The score is tied. What was that just now? Daka Shigeichi sprang up from his chair, clutching his head in his hands. That passing speed! Was that a pass? That was murder! This force, this precision! Daka Shigeichi was shocked once again. His heart began to pound, and a feeling called fear began to spread. Just how many trump cards does Linbay have up his sleeve? Task progress, 2/3. The competition has reached a fever pitch. Ryonan's resilience is beyond imagination. Sendo Akira seemed tireless, tearing through Shohoku's defenses time and time again. Ryonan has taken the lead again. 64-62. 66-64. There are only 10 minutes left. Shohoku is leading by 2 points. Ryonan launches an attack. Sendo broke through and passed the ball to Uajimi, who went up for a strong layup and drew a foul from Akagi. One of 2 free throws made. 67-64. Only 3 points behind. The atmosphere was extremely tense. The air seemed to freeze, and every breath was scorching hot. Shohoku launches an attack. This time, the entire Ryonan team retreated. Sendo stared intently at Linbay, his gaze more focused than ever before. I won't let you pass again. Sendo spread his arms, blocking all routes. Linbay looked at the wall in front of him and sighed softly. This is really troublesome. That's the only option we can use. Linbay dribbled, and his pace suddenly slowed down. He was looking at Rukawa, Akagi, and Sakuragi. Everyone's attention was drawn to his gaze. Just as Sendo was slightly distracted by the passing lane, Linbay made a move. But he neither drove to the basket nor passed the ball. Instead, it disappeared. General purpose eye tracking technique, the disappearing dribble. In Zendeo's vision, Linbay's figure seemed to blend into the background, becoming blurry and indistinct. By the time he realized what was happening, Linbeay was already behind him. Varied. Sendo turned around abruptly, his face filled with disbelief. Where are they? How did you get there? There was absolutely no warning. Linbeay easily scored a layup. 67-66. On the sidelines, Shige Ichidaka's legs buckled, and he slumped into a chair. His finger trembled as he pointed at Linbeay on the field, his lips quivering as he couldn't utter a word. Magic, this is magic. Chapter 12. My defensive tactics. Completely collapsed. Shige Ichi felt his worldview had shattered. This doesn't look like high school students playing basketball. This is simply a case of being outmatched. Task progress, 3/3. Mission complete. Reward, medium stamina potion, 1 skill point already issued. Call. Linbeay landed and wiped the sweat from his forehead. Finally done. I'm exhausted. He glanced at the scoreboard, then at the time. There are 8 minutes left. Master. Master. Just then, a red figure rushed over. Sakuragi Hanamichi was covered in sweat, but his eyes were as excited as a husky that had just spotted a bone. That move was so cool. I want to learn too. I want to learn too. I'm going to scare that old man so much he wets his pants. Linbeay looked at Sakuragi and suddenly had an idea. Now that the task is complete, the remaining time. Let the monkey do its thing. Anyway, I couldn't run anymore. Sakuragi. Linbeay patted Sakuragi's shoulder earnestly. It's a bit early to want to learn that. However, I now have an even more powerful, killer move that only you can execute. Really? Sakuragi's eyes lit up. Certainly. Linbeay pointed to the top of the basketball hoop. In a bit, I'll throw the ball into the air. No matter how high you throw it, no matter how far you throw it. All you have to do is jump up and slam the ball into the basket. This is called a genius parachuting in. A genius, parachuted in. Sakuragi muttered to himself, then threw his head back and laughed loudly. Ha ha ha. Great name. This is perfect for a genius like me. Leave it to me, master. I can fly higher than anyone else. The game continues. Ryonan's attack failed. Akagi grabbed the rebound and passed it to Linbeay. Linbeay slowly dribbled past the halfway line. At this point, Ryonan's defense was already somewhat chaotic. They didn't know whether to defend against Linbeay's breakthroughs or his passes. Linbeay stood 2 steps away from the 3-point line. The ball stopped suddenly. He looked at the basketball hoop, a mischievous smile playing on his lips. Go! He tossed the ball high into the air with both hands. The ball flew very high, very high. It wasn't a shot trajectory at all, it even looked like a misplaced pass. What is that? Uashumi was about to mock him for being a 3-no-stick, meaning someone who doesn't get caught in any situation. Suddenly, a red lightning bolt took off from near the free throw line. Sakuragi Hanamichi. He took a running start, pushed off the ground, and jumped. The floorboards let out a painful groan. He shot up like a rocket. It passed over the top of the off-road vehicle, and over the fingertips of the immortal path. It even went over Uashumi's head. What? The entire audience stood up. That red-haired guy, is he flying? Sakuragi was in the air, his body stretched out like a taut bow. Those worn-out sneakers seemed to be walking on clouds. At the highest point, the orange basketball appeared precisely in his hands. At this moment, his eyes were fixed on the basket. I am a genius. A furious roar. Sakuragi used his core strength to slam the ball hard into the basket with both hands. Bang! The deafening roar echoed throughout the stadium. The basketball hoop shook violently, creaking under the strain. Alley-oop dunk. Sakuragi landed, staggered a couple of steps due to inertia, but quickly regained his balance. He turned around, facing the completely silent audience, facing the petrified Takashige Ichi. He stood with his hands on his hips, nostrils pointing to the sky, striking his signature pose. Humph humph humph. Do you see that, mortals? This is the secret weapon. This is the power of the genius Sakuragi Hanamichi. Ha ha ha. Takashige Ichi clutched his chest, panting heavily. He looked at the red-haired monster, then glanced at Lin Bei, who was smirking in the distance. Only one thought remained in my mind. Shohoku, those guys. Where did this monster army come from? 67, 68. The score has been reversed. Shohoku's momentum was completely ignited. Sakuragi Hanamika's genius surprise attack. It was like pouring a ladle of cold water into a boiling oil pan, extinguishing most of Ryonan's home field advantage. Then another fire ignited the adrenaline of everyone in Shohoku. Get back on defense. Don't get carried away. Although Akagi Takenori was excited inside, he still maintained the dignity of a captain on his face. He roared and ran towards the backfield first. Yes. Gorilla. Sakuragi Hanamichi was still savoring the feel of that dunk. His palms burned with pain, but he considered it a badge of genius. However, the situation on the field can change in an instant. Ryonan was, after all, a top 4 team last year. After a brief moment of panic, Jun Uazumi's massive frame once again became the anchor of the paint. Give me the ball. Uazumi blocked the position and asked Sendo for the ball. He was overshadowed by Sakuragi in the scramble for the ball earlier. At this moment, the monkey boss's eyes were burning with raging anger. Without hesitation, Sendo delivered a bounce pass, accurately placing it into Uazumi's hands. Takenori Akagi immediately stepped up. The two giants collided fiercely under the basket. The squeak of muscles squeezing against each other was enough to make your teeth ache. Don't even think about going there. Akagi gritted his teeth, desperately resisting Uazumi's back to the basket attack. Roar! Uazumi suddenly exerted his strength, turning around and rising up forcefully. Just then, the basketball bounced off the rim. Rebound! Akagi and Uazumi jumped at the same time. 4 large hands entangled in mid-air, vying for that crucial landing point. Bang! An accident has occurred. As Uazumi's elbow swung down, it struck Akagi's brow bone hard. Blood gushed out instantly, flowing down Akagi's resolute face and staining half of his cheek red. Team leader! Gorilla! The Shohoku team members rushed forward with shouts of surprise. Akagi covered his forehead, blood seeping from between his fingers and dripping onto the gleaming floor, a shocking sight. The referee blew his whistle sharply. Time out. Shohoku requests a timeout. Uazumi stood there, stunned, staring at Akagi, whose face was covered in blood. That fierce aura vanished instantly, replaced by a trace of panic and guilt. Akagi! I didn't mean to. Uazumi awkwardly tried to go forward to check, but was pushed away by a Yako who rushed over. Don't touch him! Stop the bleeding immediately! Although a Yako is usually feisty, her hands were trembling slightly at this moment. Akagi sat on the floor, letting a Yako treat his wounds. He pushed away Kagure, who tried to help him up, his one eye fixed on the scoreboard. I'm fine. I just need a band-aid. No. The wound is too deep, you need to go to the infirmary for treatment. A Yako interrupted him sternly. Do you want to lose too much blood and faint on the field? But... Akagi gritted his teeth, looking at the court with resentment. Go on, gorilla. A lazy voice interrupted. Linbeay stood to the side, hands in his pockets. He frowned slightly as he looked at the bloodstains on the ground. Leave this to us. A&D. Your successor is already impatient. Linbeay pointed to Sakuragi, who was standing next to him, looking as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. Gorilla. Go ahead without worry. Leave the paint to this genius. I'll knock that monkey boss flying. Sakuragi Hanamichi thumped his chest, making a loud thud. Akagi looked at Sakuragi's eyes, which showed no fear and even seemed eager to try, and remained silent for 2 seconds. Sakuragi. Akagi's voice was deep. What? Defend the paint. Don't embarrass Shohoku. Chapter 13. So verbose. How could a genius like me possibly lose face? Akagi finally stood up and, with the Yako's help, walked towards the locker room. Don't think you can win just because I'm not here, Uazumi. As he passed by Uazumi, he stopped and coldly uttered a remark. Uazumi clenched his fist and said in a deep voice, I will defeat your substitute fair and square. I'll be waiting for you to come back. Akagi leaves the field. Shohoku lost its key inside player. The atmosphere in the entire stadium instantly became subtle. Takashige Ichi breathed a sigh of relief on the sidelines. Although the victory was somewhat unfair, it was indeed a golden opportunity for Ryonan to launch a counterattack. Listen up. Without Akagi, Shohoku's inside game is a vacuum. Uazumi. Attack the basket. Beat that red-haired kid down. Takashige Ichi waved his fist, spitting as he spoke. The game restarted. Without Akagi's restraint, Jun Uazumi completely transformed into an inside behemoth. Bang! Uazumi received the ball, turned around, and shoved Sakuragi aside for a powerful one-handed dunk. 69-68. Ryonan overtook them. Damn it! That monkey boss is so strong. Sakuragi rubbed his chest, wincing in pain from the impact. Idiot, your center of gravity is too high. Are you brain dead? Rukawa walked coldly past Sakuragi, his fox-like eyes filled with disdain. What did you say? You damned fox! If that ball had been yours, you would have been sent flying into the stands. Sakuragi instantly bristled, his forehead touching Rukawa's. Idiot! Rukawa Kaede pushed Sakuragi's face away. Next round. Rukawa Kaede has the ball. Facing Sendo's defense, he didn't pass the ball but instead chose to force his way through. A series of crossover dribbles, followed by a sharp change of direction. Wow, so fast! Even Sendo was pushed back half a body length. Rukawa Kaede drives into the paint. Facing the defensive Uazumi, he executed an extremely smooth pullback maneuver in mid-air. He dodged the block and made a reverse layup. Whoosh! Goal! 69-70. Shohoku kept the score close. Snort! Rukawa landed and glanced at Sakuragi. Although he didn't say anything, his eyes clearly said, this is what playing ball should be like. Ugh! I'm so angry. Sakuragi jumped up and down in anger, yelling, give me the ball. I want to score too. However, Ryonan did not give Shohoku a chance to catch their breath. Sendo Akira stepped forward. He looked at the chaotic situation on the field, a calm smile playing on his lips. Don't panic, everyone. Sendo held up one finger. Score another goal. Ryonan launches an attack. Sendo dribbled past half-court and, facing Rukawa's defense, suddenly accelerated. Not a breakthrough, but, a pass? No, it's a fake news report. The moment Rukawa lost his balance, Sendo had already swept past like a gust of wind. Sakuragi! Cover for him! Linbeay shouted from behind. Actually, Sakuragi had already rushed forward without Linbeay even having to shout. Don't even think about going there, you broom-headed BD. Sakuragi leaped high into the air, his hands covering the sky, as if he wanted to give Sendo a giant hot pot. This incredible jumping ability drew a gasp from the audience. But Sendo remained calm in the air. He looked at the arrogant newcomer in front of him, a sharp glint flashing in his eyes. You jumped really high. But Sendo paused abruptly in midair for a moment, only exerting his strength again when Sakuragi began to fall. A thunderous dunk over someone. Boom! Sendo slammed the ball into the basket with one hand, the immense impact knocking Sakuragi to the ground. 71, 70. The entire venue erupted in cheers. Sendo! 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 Cheers erupted like a tsunami. Sendo landed and looked down at Sakuragi lying on the floor. Her face still wore that harmless smile, but her words sent a chill down Sakuragi's spine. Sakuragi-kun, jumping high isn't enough. Basketball is not a simple sport. Sakuragi stared blankly at Sendo's retreating figure, his fists clenched so tightly they cracked. This is a crushing defeat due to superior strength.